left field. It's deep. It's going.
Yes!
And it is gone.
Yes! He steps up his head and falls forward. And he fumbles the football and the Eagles have it.
Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's the guy. He's going to take it. Touchdown from 65.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Hope y'all enjoyed your new year. I know I enjoyed mine. How was yours, Tyler?
I mean, hey, New Year's was good. Most of the time, I don't
There we
really
go.
do nothing for New Year's, but I stayed up until midnight at least.
There we
so
go. Yeah,
there we are.
that's the spirit.
I wasn't one of those lame ducks that fell asleep
goes to
at
bed
like
at 9 o'clock.
10 o'clock or something like that.
Well, welcome back, guys. The Eagles had a chance to win the 2 seed on Sunday with the victory over Washington, and the Bears lost. I mean, the Eagles had it in their hands, and
Yep.
you could say they blew it.
Well, Eagles kind of showed their hand when they said early in the week that they weren't going to play most of their starters. They were going to rest a lot of people.
They were playing, they weren't playing starters.
Yeah.
And the Bears were playing starters, and they lost to the Lions. So even when you still had a chance, because it was a close game all the way to the finish,
Yeah. And really, the Eagles had plenty of opportunities to actually pull ahead and to get a lead in this game. There were plenty of times where they were actually on the Washington Commanders side of the field and didn't end up getting any points from it due to
there
interceptions.
was one interception in the
and
red zone from McKee, and then they went for it on
fourth down
fourth and goal.
from like the 3 or the 4?
the 3 or the 2 or something, and they couldn't get it.
Yeah, they couldn't
so
get
that
it.
was missed opportunity there. Another missed
They
opportunity.
decided to go for it, I think, on a fourth down from like the 30-something instead of kicking a field goal.
They didn't get it.
Didn't get that one. So there were opportunities for them to really like pull ahead and kind of take off from this game. It's just they didn't capitalize. And it's a lot. It's very easy to sit here and in hindsight go, wow, we should have played all the starters so that this way we could have gotten the 2 seed. But it's weird because I don't think the difference between 2 and 3 is that big of a deal. But also, if the
I think
Seahawks happen to throw up a clunker,
yeah.
then that means that,
The 2 gets you the guaranteed 2 home games.
yeah.
So
And-
if the Eagles did get the 2 seed, they would play the Packers, and they probably wouldn't have to go to Seattle if they do win their next game.
They would have to. The only way that they're going to be able to get a second home game now would be if the Bears lose opening weekend. If the Bears
Which
lose
is
this
definitely
wild card opening
which
weekend,
is possible.
that is definitely possible.
There's no, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and count out the Packers.
No,
They beat the Bears this year.
right. And the Bears, as you saw last week with Detroit, they are capable of losing when they play their starters, even when the whole team is full strength. And it's not like that Detroit team had everyone. Detroit always has a ton of injuries. Maybe they have the same problems as the San Francisco 49ers with their practice facility. But Detroit's not like a pushover win, you know? And the fact that they kind of got the doors beat off of them a little bit in that game against the Lions makes me more willing to believe that, Chicago could easily lose in this first round, and then the Eagles get 2 home games regardless. So it might not matter that much that they ended up being the 3 as opposed to being the 2 seed. I guess it depends on how much do you truly believe in Chicago? How much do you truly believe in Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson? And
I feel like Chicago's been very streaky all year. They've had games where they can be unstoppable. They looked really good against the Eagles.
they remind me
give
a
them
lot
that.
of Denver, where
Yep.
a lot of their wins seem to kind of just have everything fall into like perfect place for
Yeah.
them.
There was a lot of times I felt like where they were down by, 2 scores or like more than 10 points, and they were able to mount a comeback, and they were mounting these comebacks against not really good teams. Cincinnati,
Yeah, not the
the
greatest.
Giants,
teams.
you have to do this improbable comeback versus a
Yeah,
Giants team that finished with 4 wins.
yeah. And it's not like they have the advantage of, because their first game is against the Packers, right?
Yeah.
So they don't have the advantage of like, oh, well, we're playing in an open air stadium in December or in January. It's cold, the weather sucks, and you're not used to that because that's exactly what Green Bay is used to. Green Bay has got worse probably weather
Green
than
Bay
Chicago
and
does.
Chicago both have the nice, chilly, windy, snowy
Yeah.
type of environment.
So you can't even sit there and give the Bears like the benefit of the doubt of like, oh, well, they are going to respond better to the environmental, the environmental changes that could really have a precedent on the actual
when you
game.
compare it to a team like the Chargers and Patriots, the Patriots are playing in a colder environment, while
Right, while the Chargers play out in
sunny
Los
California,
Angeles,
sunny California.
they're not dealing with trying to catch the ball in 20-degree weather with 15-mile-an-hour wind gusts that
And
make it feel like it's
3 inches of snow.
right. That make it feel like it's 10 degrees
They
out.
get to play in
Like,
a nice, relaxed dome, like 70 degrees,
so
no wind or rain.
that's one thing that definitely goes into the Eagles' favor. The fact that it's not like they're playing a team like Carolina. Like, they're not playing anyone from the South, where you could sit there and go, the Bears have a distinct advantage in playing outside in the elements over any team from the South. They're playing someone that is very familiar with playing in very unfavorable conditions in the Packers. And I have no idea what the weather is supposed to be like over there. They play on Saturday, right?
Yeah,
Saturday
it's
night,
the Saturday
right?
prime game.
Yeah, it's at 8:30 or 8:20, whatever the time is. So
It's probably going to be
it's going to be cold.
nice and cold. Yep.
I imagine since it's a night game, it'll probably be windy. Wind usually picks up during the nighttime hours, I feel like, as opposed to the daytime hours. So,
It's supposed to be snowy on Saturday with
oh yeah, if it's going to be snowy,
in the 30s with some snow and a little bit of mix,
Right.
A little bit of wind.
like if Chicago was going up against Carolina, I would easily be like, all right, Chicago's definitely going to win that game. Just off the
Yeah, but
environmental factor alone. But since they're going up against Green Bay, they don't really have that edge that
Nope.
they would have over maybe a different team from
Green Bay plays in the same
different area.
exact environment.
Yeah. And they also have an open air stadium. They're used to playing in the elements. So, plus, Green Bay is actually going to have Jordan Love back. I believe Josh Jacobs will be playing in this game. I'm not entirely sure if Josh Jacobs played in the first game between these two teams or in the most recent game, because I think he was still out with that leg injury that he had.
They're just going to be missing some guys on defense.
Yeah. So I do think
Michael
that,
Parsons is a huge blow.
yeah, but the strength of that Green Bay team, I don't really think lies in the defense. Although the defense is good, like it's good, but I don't sit there and think that Green Bay has like a top 10 defense or anything like that for the most part. I mean, teams have been able to put up points against them all year. If anything, the strength of this team, I feel like, for the Packers is Josh Jacobs and how they use Josh Jacobs as a kind of like a Swiss Army knife
Yeah,
to
they're
kind
going to
of do everything.
They're going to have to abuse the running game because it's going to be
Right.
freezing cold.
So I think a bigger, like, not saying that Josh Jacobs is better than Micah Parsons, but I think for the Packers, it's more important for them for Josh Jacobs to play over Micah Parsons, if that makes sense. Because he really is the kickstarter behind all of their scoring, and whenever their running game isn't working, it's not really like Jordan Love is going to sit there and throw the ball 40 times and they're going to win the game.
Yeah,
He's not that type of quarterback.
I would want Michael Parsons too, especially in that type of environment where it's going to be cold. They're not going to be passing the ball a lot. You can get to the quarterback
Yeah.
easier.
So I do think that Green Bay has a very realistic and good chance of upsetting. But would you even really call it an upset? Because,
What I would call an upset is like the Chargers versus the Patriots.
yeah, or maybe like, what, like the Rams against, who do the Rams play?
Carolina.
So then now, but
Yeah, but Carolina beat them in the regular season.
yeah,
So, I mean, anything is possible.
I mean, beat them on like a last second field goal, I think.
Hey, but still, that win is a
still,
win.
Yeah. So, and then the two teams that have the buys this week is Denver.
Denver and
Seattle.
Seattle, yep.
So you're not going to have to worry about Seattle at least up until next week. And being the 3 seed, you're not going to have to worry about them until the NFC Championship game. So
That's
as
if
long
they
as,
even make it to
right,
the NFC Championship game.
as long as you make it past who I do have confidence that they're going to make it past the 49ers.
49ers?
I don't think
All
that
right.
the 49ers are going to come in here and win this game, but it really depends on who that second game ends up being.
All right, but we'll talk about the injury report because, a lot of people did not really play during. A lot of people really did not practice on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Pearsall
Yep.
didn't practice.
Williams.
Trent Williams didn't practice. They just lost Tatum Bethune, their linebacker, and now they don't have him or Fred Warner. D. Winters didn't practice. Keon White didn't practice.
What about Purdy? Did Purdy practice?
Purdy practiced.
Okay, Purdy did practice.
George Kittle was limited. They don't have Nick Bosa. So this is a really banged up 49ers team.
And Kittle didn't play last week either.
No, Kittle did. He did play last week.
He did play last
Yeah.
week? I didn't see him play last week. That's crazy.
But they've been banged up all season. And, I don't know if Brock Purdy's at full strength. Christian McCaffrey is always injury prone. It's going to be...
Well, they took Purdy out of that game early with some type of back injury that happened. I want to say they took him out with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I think, last week.
So you're
He had some type of vertebrae injury.
So you could... The 49ers could be without a lot of people.
Yeah.
This is all right, I get it. It's... If the Eagles do win, or it would be a game versus the 49ers are always injured, but this is the game they need to take advantage of.
Well, yeah. And honestly, at this point, it doesn't really matter what the excuses are.
I don't really care what the excuses are unless they win.
You win, you move to the next round.
Yep.
I don't care if the entire team on the other side is playing on one leg. It really does not matter. As long as you win the game by 1 point, I'm not going to sit here and criticize a playoff win. Playoff wins are not easy to come by. You can look around many coaches in the NFL. Not a lot of them have good winning percentages in the playoffs. Doesn't matter what the coach is. They could be a great coach. And look at Todd Bowles. I would say Todd Bowles is a pretty solid coach. He's probably a top 10 coach, or at least in my estimation of coaches around the league. Yet he has a losing record in the playoffs. Playoff wins are not easy to come by. So if the Eagles do squeak out a win this week by the skin of their teeth, I'm fine with it. I'm not going to sit here and trash them or get on them because it's a playoff win.
Harbaugh's record was 13-11.
Right, and that's someone that's going to end up being a Hall of Fame coach whenever he's done. It's not easy to just rack up playoff wins. And Sirianni has kind of done it better than any other coach, at least in the past couple of years.
Three playoff losses to what? Only 5 or 6 wins?
No, Sirianni's got, I think, 9 or 10 wins to 3 losses. Because think about it, they had to win 4.
6 and 3. So they won the 4 to get to the Super Bowl, and then they won the 2 the year they got the bye. So that's 6 wins.
Yeah, so
and then the 3 losses have been to Tampa Bay, and the Chiefs.
I don't know what it is with them in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
They'll
get the win in the regular season, and then if they somehow face off in the postseason, it always ends up in some turmoil.
As long as
ends up being good.
As long as they don't play Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. It's just whenever they go to Tampa Bay. It's whenever they go to Tampa for some reason.
It seems like they always go to Tampa Bay.
At least during the regular season.
Yeah.
I feel like or at least the past couple of seasons, 3 seasons in a row now, I think they've played away games in Tampa Bay now.
It's been the 3 seasons in a row, and they've all been week 4.
And I think before that, it was Atlanta that they kept going on the road to play, wasn't it? Because I remember a couple years in a row where they still had Carson Wentz, where they kept going down to Atlanta
to play the Falcons,
early on in the season every year. So
this year they announced their opponents. They don't have to play the Tampa Bay. They don't have to play Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay.
Oh, next year?
Nope.
There we go. Finally. Although I'm sure that probably, I'm sure that there's probably a lot of traveling fans that really enjoyed that trip.
Oh, yeah.
Every year, because it's not like they were going down and December or nothing. They always go down there
they
in
were
like
going-
September, the
Yep.
beginning of the year, which is a great time to go down to Tampa Bay.
It depends though. It can get like really hot.
Yeah,
There's some
it can
games
get
where
really
It's
hot.
like 100+ degrees.
But usually that's only on the field. That's because of the whole like
Yeah.
the heat bowl thing, how there's like the bowl so it traps all the hot air on the inside of it. But I know a couple of people that, went down to Tampa for going to see the Eagles game, and they were doing it like a trip every year. They were going down there because they were like, oh yeah, this is the week that the Eagles play. Well, it gives us an excuse to go to Florida.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
why not?
Eagles fans travel well though. I'll give you that.
Oh, they always travel well. Doesn't matter if the destination is beautiful, sunny Tampa Bay, or if the destination is rainy Seattle, Washington.
Oh yeah,
Doesn't matter.
or snowy, windy Buffalo.
Right, like it doesn't matter. The
They'll
Eagles
still-
fans
they'll
always
still
show
travel.
up.
Yep.
But that's definitely a trip that I feel like a lot of traveling fans are going to miss next year. They're like, oh, we don't get to go to Tampa this year? That sucks. But I'm at least happy with the fact that they will not have to deal with Tampa Bay next year. Because Tampa Bay always seems to just be a roller coaster.
Yeah,
of a
they
game.
always seem to just bite the Eagles in the ass.
Even if like they win the game is just nerve wracking every time there's two teams play.
Yeah, they won this year and it was nerve wracking.
Yeah. Well, it was nerve wracking because of the second half. The first half they were dominant. They were, jumping all over them. And then the second half they fell apart and couldn't move the ball anymore. So,
Hey, we saw that all year. It's the
Exactly.
the play not to lose mindset.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that
dude, I
has got to
swear
change
to
in the
you.
playoffs. If the Eagles come out and it's halftime and they're up like 24-0, and then they're sitting there cruising at halftime, and the coaches are still on this like play not to lose mindset, where it's like, dude, come on, you're up 24 points going into the halftime. You have a championship level defense.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just burn the clock and stop their offense, which is pretty easy. You already stopped them for 2 quarters.
Yeah.
You can stop them for another 2.
Now, one thing that also plays into the Eagles' favor for this week's matchup against San Francisco is the fact that Seattle ran all over San Francisco last week. And the tandem of Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker are good. They're a good pair, but it's not like they're as good probably as Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby. I feel like that's
what
probably the
Eagles
better
gotta
running
do,
back
yeah.
room.
You got to use Tank Bigsby and Saquon Barkley efficiently in this
And
game.
as long as the O-line is going to be healthy, then
Yeah, because
I'm expecting big rushing numbers this week.
Lane Johnson returned to practice.
Yep.
That's
Juergens has been
yeah.
at practice.
Juergens, yep. Kobe Dean is going to play.
And then what about,
Everyone's going to play.
you said Lane's, what about Dickerson?
Yeah, Dickerson's going to play.
So you're going to have a full offensive line.
Yeah, they're expecting everybody except Makuba, but that's why they got Epps.
Yeah. And Epps has honestly been pretty solid.
Yeah, Epps has been solid.
Epps has been pretty solid the
So
entire.
you're getting a healthy offensive line, a healthy offense, a healthy defense versus a banged up offensive line and defensive for the 49ers.
Yeah. So I'm expecting Saquon, and I mean, it might not end up being big day for Bigsby just because he might only be on the field for like 3 snaps. But
Yeah.
Saquon, I'm definitely
their-
expecting to have a big game.
That's their mindset. Yeah, you just can't be you just can't be passing it. You see that this defense in the secondary is all banged up, but you still just can't pass it. You can't take that risk.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad if they do pass it because
No, I
They'll
wouldn't be
be-
mad if they passed it either, but they got to be more protective with passing.
and
You can't be passing on every single snap like what we said. When Hurts throws 40 times or more,
they're 0-6.
they're 0-6. Yeah,
Yeah,
See,
that's not
he's
the
gotta-
recipe to success for this team.
He's got to be passing. He's got to be like he can pass.
30 times is right around the sweet spot.
Like he can
for
pass.
him.
He just can't be. They can't be lining up 5 wide on every single
Yeah.
snap. Like, all right, let's do this. It's 3rd down from their 30,
Yeah.
and they're lining up 5 wide. Like, all right, this throw is going nowhere.
Well, what's the average amount of plays that teams probably run in a game? Like 60 to 70, I want to say,
Yeah.
right? I feel like as long as out of those 60 to 70, if 35 to 40 of those plays are rushes and you only got Jalen throwing the ball around 25, 30 times, that's probably the best way balance-wise and just for Hurts to really get into the rhythm of everything for this team to go.
That design runs too. I'm sure they'll be using that as well.
Dude, I hope that they
Yeah.
actually use Hurts to run more than what he was
If you have
during
a
the regular
banked up
season.
defensive line and someone like Lane can get you a block, Hurts is getting a first down right there and more.
Yeah. And this is the time that you can't, sit there and be like, oh, well, I don't want to tuck and run, on this play because I might twist an ankle.
Oh, I might
or,
get injured. It's the playoffs, man.
Right.
Anything.
It's time for Jalen to, not up or shut up.
You
got to decide.
Not a regular season game versus the Giants. Where,
right. This is a game where everything's on the line.
They're starting the DoorDash driver at defensive tackle. Like, this is a game where you have to take risks.
Yeah. And Jalen, as much as we know he is risk averse in the way that he plays, you're not going to be able to beat all of these really good teams all these weeks in a row without taking a couple of risks, without being calculated in the decisions that you do make. And
you might have to make some risky throws. You might have to take off on a play. You might have to, there might be Dallas Goedert that is streaking 15 yards down the field, but there might be a guy in front of him, and you might have to make the decision, do I pass or do I take off and run? And if your decision to pass is fueled by, I don't want to take off and run and hurt myself, then you're making the wrong decision. Yep.
Like, you have to throw that stuff out the window this week and every week going forward now.
You can't be sitting here like...
You can't be playing for the next play.
Does AJ need his targets?
Right. Like,
Goddard's wide open down the field, but AJ's sitting there needing his targets, so...
In the regular season, you're always playing to get to the next play, It doesn't matter what happens on this play because you're guaranteed another play later on in the game,
Like, that's not happened. That doesn't happen in the playoffs. Like, it could be...
This is where that goes away, where you have to play every single down like this is the last opportunity you're going to have the football. And you got to sit there and be willing to sacrifice everything to really get through all of the teams that you have to get through. Because this NFC is stacked.
It's the fourth quarter with a minute left and Hurts throws an interception in the end zone. This is... And it's week one. It's like, oh, no big deal. We got 16 more games to play.
Exactly.
If we're in the same situation, he throws a pick, that's your season right there.
Yeah.
The 49ers just have to take a knee, and...
As long as the Eagles don't have timeouts, then the game's over.
Yep, the game's over.
Game is over. So this is not the time to be saving it for the next play.
Yeah, you can't be lollygagging and doing all this play not to lose BS.
Yeah, you really got to sit there and you really got to push the throttle every single time that you have the ball. You can't do this, oh, well, we're up by 13, let's take our foot off the gas, let's run on first and second down and get 2 yards, and now we're 3rd and 8, and we're forced to have some really stupid play because we're limited in what we can call because it's 3rd and 8. You have to stay ahead of the sticks in the playoffs. You can't put yourself in the second and long situations like they have been doing all season long, which leads you to not be taking any risks because you have to worry about making up ground on second down. Because I feel like every first down run with Saquon is like 2 yards.
Yeah.
1 yard,
it's
2
either
yards.
2 yards or he will go off for like 12. It's kind of like a...
Or you get swallowed in the
that.
backfield for like a loss of like 3.
Yep.
So you can't have that be the way that you're starting off your drives in the playoffs. If you're going to be starting off drives with a loss of 3 yards or something.
They'll start off those drives with like a measly Saquon 1 yard run. It just loses the entire morale of the drive. It's like
kills the energy of the drive.
They don't know what to do after it. They're like they literally turn into like balloon snakes.
Well, whenever you get behind schedule, and it's 2nd and 9 as opposed to it being 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 4, you completely change what you call and how you call it, because now instead of you being like, all right, it's 2nd and 4 or 2nd and 5, I can maybe take a shot because I'm still feeling confident in my offense so we can get 5 yards on 3rd down. You now have to treat 2nd down like, all right, 2nd down was almost kind of like how 3rd down was last year. You're trying to get as many yards to get it to 3rd and short, where last year on 3rd down, they were just trying to get as many yards to get it to 4th and short. That's kind of the same
You can get
where it is now, I feel like.
you get your 2nd and 8. You get 7 yards on a completion to Goddard.
Right.
You're at 3rd and 1.
Right. Now you're ahead of the sticks. You can maybe take a chance.
You could take a chance, or you could do a tush push, or you could do whatever
Right.
it takes to get that 1st down.
Or if you get 8 yards, 7 yards on 1st down, it's 2nd and 3. You can sit there and take a chance because you only need to get 3 more yards. It's a lot harder for you to sit there and take that chance on a 2nd and 9 or a 2nd and 8.
Yeah.
Because if that doesn't work, you're basically guaranteeing you're going to punt the ball.
Now you're stuck at 3rd and 9.
Right, and
You're at
that's-
your own 30. It's like, what the heck, man?
And if you're stuck at 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, more than likely you're going to be leaving the field. More than likely you're not going to get another play that's going to get you 8 to 9 yards, and you're going to have to punt. So that's one thing that you really got to look forward to, or one thing I'm really going to be looking forward to is how does this offense do on 1st down? If this offense is able to get yards on 1st down and make it 2nd and manageable, like 2nd and 5 or 2nd and short, then I think that the Eagles' offense is going to look a lot better than it has the entire rest of the season. If it ends up being 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8, it's probably going to be a lot of what we've been seeing from the offense all year, where 2nd and 8, we only got like 5 plays so we can run that's going to give us 5 yards to get us to 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 3. So, all right, AJ, here's a little slant, or Saquon, let's try to run you to the outside in between Mailata or outside of Mailata for another like 3-4 yards and just try to get it to 3rd and manageable. If they're able to make it so that they're on 2nd and short, I expect that you're probably going to see a 30-point performance from this offense.
Yeah.
This offense is still talented enough where it can put up that amount of
Yeah,
points.
it definitely is. There's
It's
a lot.
just-
There's a lot of stuff that goes into the coordinator, and
They're just constantly behind schedule. Every drive, dude. I feel like at least every drive, there's one instance in the drive where it's 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 12. And it's like, yeah, no wonder why you keep going 3 and out. No wonder why you have so many 3 and outs, because you put yourselves in so many second and longs.
This is a thing that Jalen said yesterday. So Jalen Hurts was asked on whether the decline in running has kept him healthy, and he said, no. The season has just gone the way it is. The approach this year and the way the games have been called with the coordinator, it's kind of gone that way. I've taken it in stride and giving my best position they've put me in.
So
Pretty much just nicely dogging Patullo.
yeah. And if Jalen's going to be running the football, and that is a true statement where he's probably going to be, or at least that's a true statement where they haven't been using him as a designed rusher really all year because of Patullo. I don't know if I expect that to change now, since they haven't been doing it all year, but if the path for this team is Jalen needs to run, which we both believe that it is, like the path for this team to be successful is not Jalen Hurts just standing in the pocket and passing. He's got to run. He's got to have design runs. He's got to break the pocket.
It's his ability is to run.
He has to. And if he's not going to be willing to do that, or if Kevin Patullo is not going to be willing to call that, then I don't really see a way for this team to get to the Super Bowl. I don't know if you feel the same way that I do with that.
No, I definitely feel the same way. Like, yeah, you have other weapons, but you're still going to have to use Hurts to his full potential.
Yeah. The
You
thing
know.
that made Saquon so dangerous last year was the fact that Jalen had the ability to tuck and run it as well.
The
You
tuck
take
and
that-
run in the offensive line. You take,
You take that away, and look
Mhm.
what Saquon has done this year.
you know, we have not seen a lot. It took until like mid-December to see what Hurts could be able to do. And
I mean-
we've seen this plenty of times.
I think it took Saquon till week 16 or 17 to crack 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Like, that's how big of a difference it is if Jalen is a threat to run when Jalen's not a threat to run. It's a difference of 1,000 yards for Saquon.
And it's not
in
like
a season.
It's not like the offensive line has changed.
No. The
Besides-
only thing that's changed is Tyler Steen.
Yeah, Steen.
That's it. And it's not like Becton's been playing good over in LA. He literally was playing so bad they benched him before the Eagles game, and he hasn't played since. So it's not like, there's big changes that were on personnel that is the reason why, the rushing attack is not as good as it was last year. I really think the reason why is just because teams don't have the threat, or they at least don't feel threatened by Jalen tucking and running the ball anymore. And
No, they clearly don't, and that's got to change.
when you don't have that threat, you can just key in on Saquon, and what ended up being a 15-yard play for him last year, a 15-yard run, because the edge guy wasn't sure who was getting the ball, now turns into a 3-yard loss.
That's a
That's
a dividend of 5.
right. That's a drive killer right there.
Yep.
And if this team's gonna get to the Super Bowl, they're gonna have to have Saquon getting those plays that he did last year.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to get those 10, 11, 12-yard runs to keep this team moving down the field and to keep the actual down and distance on schedule, making sure you don't get to those second and longs like we just talked about, or the third and longs. As long as you're able to keep the first down within like arm's length the entire game, I really think that the Eagles have the personnel plus all the injuries on San Francisco. They have the ability to route this game.
Yeah, if you're
They
able
do.
to if you're able to get first downs of reach, yeah, they can easily put this game away.
Yeah. And I don't think that it would be necessarily hard for them to do it either. This is one of those games where I feel like everyone's going to expect a close game, kind of like how the Super Bowl was last year, and the Eagles could potentially just beat the brakes off of them,
Because no one was expecting the Eagles to beat the brakes off of the Chiefs.
No one was expecting that. And they came out and they dominated the entire first 3 quarters of that game before they were like, all right, we already won. Time to just take our foot off the gas in the fourth quarter. Maybe that's where some of the, taking our foot off the gas has come from this year. The fact that they were able to basically go the entire second half of last year's Super Bowl on cruise control. I don't know if that factors in or if maybe that is something that Sirianni looks at and goes, well, we're up by 17 at halftime, so time to just coast for the rest of
Time
the
to
game.
play not to lose, baby.
Time to play so that none of our players get hurt. You
Yep.
know? Because I don't think Sirianni's sitting there and realistically, thinking, oh, I'm playing not to lose this game. I think it's more, we're already up by 17. I'm not going to put any of my players in a position to get hurt.
It's halftime and they have a big lead, so it's all right, guys. Take off your pads, get in your bubble wrap suits. Play not to lose, baby.
So as long as that stuff goes by the wayside this week, I really think that the Eagles are going to win this game pretty convincingly.
Yeah.
I honestly feel pretty confident about this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about this game at all.
I'm a little worried, but we'll see come game time and how the Eagles' offensive plan is. Then we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, this is concerning or it's not. So, 2 more things I want to talk about before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
Tanner McKee. So, I love how everyone was on the train of start him after Hurts had his, lackluster game against the LA Chargers, and
Well, he
got a chance. I mean,
he had his bad 4-week stretch where it wasn't just the Chargers. It was also the Packers,
it was the Packers,
the Lions, the
Bears,
Cowboys.
Yep.
It was all
So
of them.
it was, but everyone was clamoring to start him.
Mm-hmm.
Radio was wanting to start him. They started him against Washington, who, mind you, aren't really this is like backups, really. Washington starters are like backups on other teams. You start him against Washington, and he didn't look really good.
No, he looked like a backup quarterback that was going against starters.
Yep.
He
He was missing pass attempts. He was
was really inaccurate all day.
interceptions, overthrows. Yeah, he was behind receivers. He was
Took a couple of sacks.
took a couple of sacks.
3 or
like you
4,
said, the
I think.
interception. Yep.
So
And
he
he was,
he had a rough game back there,
he was scrambling in the pocket a lot, throwing balls away.
And Tanner McKee, is not the type of guy that you want throwing on the run. You know, he's more of that traditional pocket passer, give me time, and I'm going to just throw the ball all over the field and, you know, nickel and dime you to death. He's not the type of guy where you're rolling the pocket for him to throw on the move. You know, like he's not that I don't want to say he's not athletic.
He's not going to be as mobile as Jalen Hurts.
He's not a guy that's used to throwing on the run. He's used to standing, having his feet set, and launching it, you know?
And see, that's like what we see out of Hurts.
Yeah. And for Tanner McKee to come in and actually look like a backup this game and not throwing for 350 yards or whatever the case may be, or 300 yards and having a great performance, I really feel like that is good for Jalen, because now you're not going to
You don't have like people clamoring all over him saying,
exactly,
"Oh, look how well McKee did. Shall we start?
Yeah.
Shall we start him in the playoffs over Jalen Hurts?"
like I'm not happy that McKee came in and didn't have a great game and they lost, but I am happy that this will put the whole, sit Jalen, bench Jalen, start Tanner McKee.
Yeah, this gets rid of all that.
We would have, if Tanner McKee was the quarterback, we'd be scoring 40 points a game. Like,
No.
please, people, come on. There's a reason why he's a backup quarterback.
That was against Washington's defense, who is not a good defense one bit.
Right.
It doesn't matter who their starters are.
If you
put him up against a good defense,
they do have
shelled.
good individual players, but the defense as a whole
they have good players.
is not
the defense
the greatest.
as a whole isn't the greatest. Yep.
Like, they do have some guys on that defense that are very good, but
Like Frankie Louvu's good, Deron Payne is good, but that's 2 people out of an 11-person defense.
Really, the linebackers and the line are good for Washington. The problem that they have was in the secondary. The fact that you got, what's that one guy, Sandstrill?
Yeah, Mike Sandstrill,
who
Marshawn Lattimore.
And I think Sandstrill had like the most pass interference calls or something like that they had said all season. Marshawn Lattimore is a guy that is very handsy, another guy that you can draw pass interferences on. And for some reason, the Eagles' offensive receivers either just couldn't get open, or Tanner definitely missed a lot of throws.
Yeah, there was one on 4th down at the end of the game. He completely missed that to Granson.
Yep,
and
that would have been a first down.
There was one that was missed to Covey.
Yep, that was egregious. That was really far behind him.
Yeah.
There was one to Dotson where Dotson was wide open going down the sideline that he overthrew, and he ended up throwing the ball out of bounds. It didn't even land in bounds. I want to say there was another throw, I think, that Darius Cooper tried to jump for, that it was way over his head. So he just was really inaccurate, which is not usually what you see from Tanner McKee. I feel like most of the time whenever you do see him come in, one of the things that he is very good at is throwing the ball exactly where it needs to be placed.
Well, he established one thing in that he's a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not going to be as good as Jalen, and
no. And
we showed it.
I'm happy that this will finally put the Tanner McKee talk to bed. Only thing is that since he didn't have the greatest performance, I'm not entirely sure if the Eagles are going to be able to move him.
No, they'll
what
keep
they
him
want
as the backup
next year.
quarterback. Yeah.
Because, if he had like a 300-yard, 325-yard, 3 touchdown performance.
You would have people calling him and stuff.
You would have, it would be like March, and we would be getting the ESPN notification that Tanner McKee gets traded for like a 2nd-round pick or something
that's not
like
gonna
that.
Happen.
That's not going to happen anymore.
He won't get traded. No,
I don't think he will get traded. Or if he does, it's not going to be for anything that we would have thought at the beginning of the season. It's going to be for like a 4th-round pick, 5th-round pick, something like that. Where
something bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, it's not going to be like the pipe dream that we had at the beginning of the season where we were like, are they going to trade Tanner McKee for a 2nd-round pick like they did with Kenny Pickett?
Yep, that's not happening.
Probably not happening anymore. But, I mean, that's, I guess, what you should have been expecting in this game, where basically the entire team or the entire offense except for Devontae Smith for like 5 plays sat. You know, you're not expecting them to have a great offensive performance. And there were some things that were encouraging. Like Granson actually had a pretty solid game, I feel like. And that is something that could be useful at some point in the playoffs, you know. Granson, I think, has a total of 7 catches on the year. So he's not someone that the defenses are going to be looking for.
He's a backup.
Right. But he did show that he's got some hands. He can make catches. So I wonder if maybe they potentially use him as some type of, you know, decoy or something like that in the playoffs where you got 3 tight ends on the field. Dallas is lined up on the same side as Calcaterra, and then you got Granson on the other side of the line. And all the attention is going to either Dallas or Calcaterra and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith that you can just kind of hide Kylen Granson and get a solid 6-7 yard gain. I don't know if that's something that the Eagles will be exploring as a way for them to get yards, but
they wouldn't be doing that this late into the season.
Honestly, that's something I would be looking
considering that they didn't do it like the whole season.
Right, but I mean, he had the most receptions on the team in that game. He had 5 catches. He was targeted 7 times. And that leads me to believe that whether or not it was Tanner McKee or not, if he's getting targeted 7 times, it's not just because he's got good rapport with Tanner McKee from playing practice squad reps.
Jalen Hurts has good rapport with Dallas Goedert, you know?
Right.
How are they supposed to do the Jalen and Goddard special? You know, they got to recreate that with McKee and
Kylen Granson, I guess.
Granson.
But that's just something that I think would probably benefit the Eagles because it's not like Kylen Granson is a guy that defenses have on their radar. If he's out there on the field, he's probably not going to be someone that's getting a lot of attention. But he has shown that he can catch the ball when you need him to. So if there's a 3rd and 3 or something like that, I could see them using Kylen Granson as like here's like a little trick play because we're going to have all these other guys on the field and then we're just going to do a little 2-yard dump off to Kylen Granson and he's going to get a first down.
That's a good idea, but the Eagles, would you think the Eagles are going to follow that when Brown needs his catches?
I mean, I would like to sit here and say yes, I believe that they would do that because it would be smart, but I'm not entirely sure that they would. That's just something I would like to see them do. You know, like same way that I would like to see them use Tank Bigsby more, you know? Whether or not they're going to do it, that's something that I'm not sure.
Whether or not they give Bigsby, you know,
more than 3 snaps a game, who knows? But it would be a smart decision for them to give him more than 3 snaps a game. It would be a smart decision for, hey, there's a 3rd down, there's a 4th down, late in the game, you got to scheme up something that the defense isn't looking for. A little 2-yard pass, Kylen Granson, no one's going to be expecting that. And he could fall forward for a yard. The guy's 6'4". Like, he's not like he's like some, you know, guy that's like scrawny and can't play the position. Like, he's a big-bodied guy. He's got hands. I think it would be smart if they were to actually use him this week.
If they were actually able to use him effectively.
Yeah, instead of just having him, you're just going to go out there and play if Goddard needs a spell, or if Calcaterra needs a spell.
Enjoy the special teams.
Right. Is Calcaterra going to be playing this week? Have we had any update on his injury from last week?
I think he was a no-show in practice.
Okay. So I guess we'll find out later on, probably by tomorrow, whether or not. Because Granson might actually be forced into action by the fact Calcaterra might not play. And if that's the case, then you really got to take advantage of the fact that no one is expecting anything from Kylen Granson. And that's something that you have to exploit, you know? When announcers and, you know, the analysts are talking pre-game about the X factors in the game and stuff like that, that is something that could be an X factor, is potentially Kylen Granson. The fact that he's only had 7 catches all year. He's not been someone that's been heavily involved at all so far this year in any facet of the game. And now all of a sudden you find out last week that he's capable of, being the security blanket because he got a chance
Yeah,
to.
it's not a bad idea, but going back to what I said, the Eagles are not going to follow that whatsoever because they got to use all their superstars.
Yeah.
Why would they ever use their nobodies?
That's why Devontae Smith was out there for
Yep. Well, he got his
5 plays to get 1,000 yards, and then they took him off.
Yep.
So, but that's just something that I think would be smart for the Eagles to do.
Darius Cooper wasn't letting Devontae Smith steal those 1,000 yards from him.
So, is there anything that you're looking for in the game? Anything that you think that would be something smart that the Eagles could do that would be a little bit outside of the box from what they normally do week to week?
What we talked about earlier, treat second down like it's third.
Yeah, you got to start treating second down like, hey, this is first down needs to be something that gets you to second and third, so that this way, second down, you can sit there and take your shot. And then if that doesn't work, you still got one play to fall back on where you can get 3 yards. I'm pretty sure every offense in the league is capable of getting 3 yards on one play.
Yep.
As long as you're able to keep everything within that distance, within that reach, then this should be, I don't want to say an easy game, but this should be a game that's relatively comfortable.
It should be comfortable, yes.
For the Eagles to win.
It should not be a dogfight.
No, especially with the amount of injuries that they have. I'm not expecting this to be some type of game where, both defenses are dominating or both offenses are keeping pace with each other, going down the field at crazy amounts. This is probably going to end up being, in my estimation, something like a 30-17, 30-21 type of score. I think that the Eagles will probably end up winning anywhere in between the range of 7 to 11 points. So
yeah, I could see that too.
Anyone that is got some type of betting interest, keep an eye out on those lines. If line is anywhere in between 7.5 to 11, I would say take that.
Yeah, and this is the last thing I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles secondary. That was a laughing stock of a performance by them.
I was talking about the Washington defensive backs getting pass interference calls, but that is not how the game ended up.
The Eagles were getting those pass interference calls. They had what?
Yeah.
They had 4. Yeah.
Honestly, they don't have those pass interference calls. They probably win the game.
They probably win the game, yeah. The Eagles secondary is really good. They're starters. When you get to the backups,
And you know what was crazy? All 4 of those pass interferences were committed by the 4 guys that were brought in to try to help the defense.
Yep.
Ja'Cory Bennett. Got one.
Ja'Cory Bennett had 2. Ringo had one. And
McWilliams had one. And 2 of them were in the end zone. 2 of the pass interference calls were in the end zone. One was for something that was a 30 or a 40-yard gain.
A bomb.
And the other one was something that gave them a first down on a 3rd and 17.
This is unacceptable from these backups.
If they don't have even one of those pass interference calls, if that gets changed from 4 to 3, they probably win that game.
They probably win that game, yep.
It's the
Bennett
fact
was
that
terrible,
dude,
on Sunday.
It was the entire secondary. The entire secondary.
I gotta give some credit to Bennett though, because at least he tackled Terry McLaurin to the ground as the ball was coming to him. I was like, Jesus. And that was the holding. That wasn't even a PI.
Didn't Epps get some type of?
No, Epps didn't play.
Sidney Brown. Sidney Brown. He had illegal contact, or something like that, where it was, I want to say, a 2nd and 4, and the play obviously ended up going nowhere, so it would have been 3rd and 4, but Sidney Brown had illegal contact on whoever he was covering. I think it was Burks.
They had 9 penalties for 123 yards. That's more than a football field.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's worse than the game against Dallas when we said they had 96 penalties. This is 123.
Yeah, you can't expect to win games if you're giving up 123 penalty yards. you gave up more than the length of the football field. Like,
98 of those 123 yards came
was
from the
on
defense.
Yeah, came from pass interference.
Yep, it came from the defense.
It came from those 4 pass interference, and I'm pretty sure
And then the
Sidney Brown had either an illegal contact or an illegal
contact,
touching.
and then the holding.
Yep, where
And there was another one. It was taunting.
yes. Oh, who was it that?
It was Cooper because he spun the ball. In
Yeah,
front
he
of him,
spun
and
the
they-
ball right at the dude on the
they
ground.
called it for taunting.
Yep, which, I mean, soft, but also by the letter of the law,
Yep.
it is taunting what he did.
It is a taunting penalty.
Even though it was soft as hell. It's not like he sat there like and looked him in the eye and no, he literally glanced at him on the ground, spun the ball, and then walked away.
He was
Like,
excited, but
yeah.
you can't do that.
It's not like one of those taunting plays where it was like very egregious, you know, where it was like obvious, where it's not like he stepped over him.
Yeah, it wasn't like an AI
you know?
step over.
Not like it wasn't anything that egregious. He just spun the ball at his feet
It's like
and
if-
then walked away.
It's like every single time Washington was on the field, their offense, it's like Ringo or Bennett were
was bailing him out.
they were setting them up in Eagles territory. Like, all right,
Like-
we'll start you at the Eagles 30 instead of the Washington 30.
So hang on. How many penalty yards did you say that they had? 123?
123 for 9 penalties.
All right.
You can do some division.
I'm going to do a little research real quick. How many passing yards did Josh Johnson have? Did he have more passing yards than the Eagles had in like
boy.
penalty yards? Because I don't
He
know. I
probably-
don't know if he
He
did.
probably did. He had. Let me see how much passing yards did he have. He had 131 passing yards.
So he had 8 more
yeah, 8
yards than he had 8 more yards passing the ball than the Eagles had on penalties. So if that doesn't show you the fact
Yeah.
that Josh Johnson was at the end of the game was just going, you know what? I'm just going to bomb this down the field because I'm going to get a pass
He's gonna
interference
get a
call.
free penalty. Yeah.
I'm going to get a free penalty. It doesn't even matter if it's
Same amount of
accurate.
Pass yards as the Eagles had penalties, which is crazy.
Basically, like that is
And then he
horrible.
Was, he was just able to
That's horrible.
walk into the end zone because the one play, Ringo walked behind him. Ringo literally ran away from Josh Johnson as he was going into the end zone.
Like, man threw for only 131 yards on 22 attempts.
And got bailed out because of his pass interference calls.
Like,
Because you got the kings of PIs, Bennett and Ringo.
dude, if you look, McKee had 241, 6-yard average, same as Johnson. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, same as Johnson. 3 sacks to Johnson's 1. And a quarterback rating of 70 as opposed to Johnson's 74. They basically played like the exact same game. Like,
They pretty much did.
They
just-
basically
yeah,
played
but
the
just the
exact same
penalties.
game. It's just the penalties added up for the Eagles, which is what allowed Washington to win. If they don't get all of those pass interference calls, the Eagles win that game pretty easily and pretty
Yeah.
convincingly.
And
Like,
that's the same with the Dallas game. They would have won that game if it wasn't for
Yeah,
if
pretty
it wasn't for the
easily.
calls. Yep.
so that's one
could
thing
be
they
sit-
got to clean up
They
too.
they could be sitting at 13 wins.
Yeah.
They would have had the 2 seed. They wouldn't even have to worry about
Yeah.
the Bears and playing their backups.
No, they wouldn't.
because they would have.
It wouldn't have mattered.
They would have already had the 2 seed.
Yeah. So that's one thing that you definitely gotta look for in this game is penalties, because that's something that has really bogged this team down all year.
Yeah, they can't be committing these penalties, like especially with the false starts.
And I know that it's not going to
The
be the same
offsides,
guys on the field that
the
were committing the
holdings.
penalties last year. But it's not like, last week. But it's not like, the starters have really blown you away with the lack of penalties that they've had, because the starters and the backups on this team get penalized. So it doesn't really matter who's on the field. Just keep the penalties to a minimum,
Yeah.
please.
They gotta lack the penalties.
Don't have this be another game where there's 7 penalties for 85 yards.
Yep.
Like,
in the first half,
let's keep it to like
There's a-
4 or
there's
5.
a false start on every single drive, each
And-
by the offensive lineman.
And please, for the love of God, can we not have any wide receivers perform a false start this
Yeah,
week?
someone says boo in the crowd, and AJ Brown gets scared and moves his foot. Oh,
Like, dude,
you just went back 5 yards.
there was like a period of time where there was 3 weeks in a row where wide receivers got
Yeah.
freaking false start
Yeah, I
calls.
was like,
Devontae
dude.
had one. A.J. Brown had two.
All you got to do is stand still.
It's not that hard. Like,
All you got to do is stand still and look when he hikes the football.
man. So please, wide receivers, can you not have stupid fucking penalties like that, please? Stay on the line until the ball is snapped. Like, don't have a false start as a wide receiver because you lost your balance for a second and like you came off your back foot and now you have to readjust and now it's a false start. Like, really, guys?
Yep. It's
Come on.
Come
You're-
on, man.
Y'all are getting paid $50 million. You can't learn how to freaking balance your feet as
All you
you're
got to do
standing
is
still.
stand still and
Like-
wait for the football to be in the quarterback's hands.
Like A.J. Brown, you're making $35 million, $40 million a season. You can't just plant your feet in one position and not
Yeah.
move them. Like, come on, dude.
You know, most of the things we talked about, the flags, the first downs,
Oh,
and
real quick, what's your score prediction?
damn, I don't know.
What are you thinking?
Well, you said the Eagles would score at least 30, so I'm going to go 31 Eagles
Okay.
to 17 Niners. Because I was honestly thinking 31-9, but then I was like, all right, maybe I shouldn't get too delusional. So I'll go 17. They'll get a consolation. They'll get a consolation score.
Plus, I feel like the 49ers, they do have the offensive weapons where they can put up points. So I do feel like it's not going to be some game where the defense only allows like 130 yards and they only score 9 points. They're probably going to get, you know, anywhere in between 200
You know,
to
if they
250
follow,
yards.
if they follow what you say, you know, they could be on their way to the divisional. So
Hopefully, man. Hopefully.
yeah. Next episode could, you know, make or break what we're going to be talking about. So
Well, yeah.
never predictable. So thank you guys. See you next week.